I'm gonna be a mighty king like no king before. Everybody, look left, look right, everywhere you look, I'm standing in the spotlight. These were the words that I repeated to myself as I walked into the LA audition room where 100 other girls were trying out to be Nala on Broadway in New York. The air smelled of Hollywood and desperation. You know, it was crammed with these monster mothers and the savage children. You have no idea. These kids are like little demons. They'll step the foot out to trip you. They'll be doing pirouettes around just to show off, randomly just do a backflip because they can, whatever. And walking in, I was just really glad that I would never be like that, and that most of all, my mom would never be like one of those crazy, loco stage moms. I walked in and I remember her saying, Amanda, don't worry about it, just have fun and try your best. And I remember, you know, being in the corner, having my name on my back, doing my dance moves, stretching, getting it on, and a mother walks by and she goes, that's cute, but it's not amateur night. Yes, my mom snapped. She went, hell nah. I know that lady didn't say that to my daughter. The lion of the king grew out. All of a sudden, it was just no lines drawn, yelling nasty comments at the other girls like, I'm sure you other white girls didn't get the memo, but Lion King takes place in Africa. You can't learn melanin, honey, okay? Can't do makeup for that. I'm in the corner trying to pretend that my mom isn't my mom, and my twin sister's there. She's there, not really for emotional support, but just to let me know how much I can fail. So she comes up to me and she's like, yo, Amanda, I know you're nervous to like audition, cause like you have a speech impediment and everything, and like an auditory processing disorder, and you look like the black girl version of Russell Brand. But just have fun and be yourself. My mom said, move out the way. You can have fun when I have my one-way ticket to New York City. Mom, what about being myself? Being yourself won't get mommy. I mean, Amanda. To the Lion King. Amanda, come over here. There's something you need to learn. You need to put yourself out there. So when you see the casting director, tell him you've already menstruated. You're post-pubescent. You won't grow. You'll look 9 for forever. And if that doesn't work out, you can always, you know, act like a monkey, walk on your hands or some crap like that, and they might cast you as Rafiki. I am trying to kind of hear what my mom says, but also stay sane. And I remember closing my eyes and just feeling I was so close to my dream. In my head, I saw myself loud and proud on a stage in front of a crowd, proving that a girl who was black and skinny and geeky and had a speech impediment could make it to Broadway. Finally, after a little bit, they call my number. I walk into the audition room, and in my head, I'm reciting the lyrics. I'm gonna be a mighty king like no king before. I'm working on my roar, trying to be heard, but these words don't sound right. Could I ever be in the spotlight? And I'm there in front of the casting director, and I remember what my mom told me, so I said, yo, good news, I've already had my period, so this is as high as I'm gonna get. I can stay Nala for a really long time, if you know what I mean. I cannot imitate his face. I'm not gonna try it. And And then I tell him, I know I just sang that little Mighty King song, but I have other stuff in me. No! And then I heard my mom's voice in my head telling me to pull out all the stops, that if worst came to worst, and this was worst at the moment, I should, walk on my hands or something and act like a monkey. So I do not lie, I stepped back. And walked on my hands out of the audition room. True. And I was waiting there with the other girls. Everyone's so tense. The monster moms are pushing people out the way so they can hear. And they start listing the names of people who get callbacks, and I'm so excited. And they haven't called my name yet. And the casting director comes out and says, "Thank you, everyone, for coming. That is all." And I remember feeling so broken by what was supposed to be my big break. And my mom came over to me and said, it's okay. You tried your best. You're always going to be Nala in my heart. And part of me was so glad to know that I would never be like one of those girls who made it to Broadway, because I would still make it here. I'd still make it to now, being loud and proud in front of a crowd on a stage where I know I am a mighty king, mightier than before. I might be working on my roar, but look left, look right. Here I am tonight in the spotlight.
Maybe you at home feel like I do. You probably want to puke.
President Biden wasted no time issuing executive orders to radically change the country.
If there's a thin bead of sweat forming on your upper lip as you think about all of this, that's okay.
There was a very Hunger Games vibe about this whole thing.
This was not in any way, shape, manner, or form a memorable speech.
I found it tedious. This was not a great speech.
I did not think it was the best inaugural address I had ever heard.
Among the most mundane, uninteresting speeches I can recall in a long time.
I found this to be a depressing story of a great country.
Joe predictably meandered his way through what is a truly unremarkable, totally forgettable, even pre-rehearsed set of remarks.
That's not a puny crowd. As I watched, I thought this could be the first VIP elite inauguration in American history. No citizens allowed.
Joe Biden calling on the entire country to unify starting tonight. Is that all it takes? Asking?
Hollow calls for unity are both laughable and completely disingenuous. Total and complete BS.
Now that the Democrats are back in power, President Biden wants us all to just get along.
This was basically a, come on, man, let's unify message.
Superfluous idiocy masquerading as virtue.
They don't give a rip about unity. Slogans, bumper stickers, flat out lies, and smears continue.
Unity is not a fundamental American value.
There's something deeply, deeply divisive and negative in this Biden message cloaked in unity.
But what bothers me, though, is not the call for unity. It's the barely veiled shots at his predecessor.
If he thinks he's going to bring the country together by impeaching a former president, I don't know what he's smoking, because really he's just going to divide the country further.
Unless President Biden stops Nancy Pelosi from pursuing this mad impeachment, we're going to have a very divided country. We're not going to have any unity whatsoever. We're going to have people, 100%. Stabbing each other in the back. It's going to be an outright civil war.
I don't honestly think Joe Biden understands how the world works, and blood's going to be on his hands if anything bad happens.
The weak, the frail, the cognitively struggling Biden.
Well, he's going to have cognitive challenges.
Biden is the complete embodiment of all things swamp and sewer D.C.
Joe Biden has no charisma. I mean, he's got no energy. He's got nothing.
An aged globalist like Biden.
Joe Biden isn't well. Everyone in Washington knows that.
He's too weak to stand up to the Marxists in his own party.
Is it a strong regime, or is it one that's weak? Is it one that's frail and that's old?
And beneath Biden's phony pleas for unity today is the same hatred, the same rage. That didn't go away. The utter disdain for 75 million of us, those that voted for Donald Trump.
We need to have a press that is motivated to be adversarial.
I don't want Joe Biden to succeed. I don't want this agenda to work.
Make no mistake. The 75 million Americans who voted for President Trump, they're not going away. I'm one of them. I'm not going away either.
Black Lives Matter and Antifa, they will come to your home and violate your home, try to intimidate the people in your home. Trust me,
exactly.
At some point, they're coming for you as well.
What do you do about a story about the president and his family now that the president is actually the president?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Maybe they're nice people, but it's abominably bad analysis.
How did you get over 30 appointments with senators? How'd you do that? How did you get major press coverage on this issue? And how did you get kids? Why do you use kids? Why kids? You know, if school zones were protected with security guards with guns, there would be no mass shootings at schools. Do you know that? The best way to stop a bad guy with a gun is with a good guy with a gun. That was David Hogg right there. David, we saw him inside the Senate building. He had 30 appointments where he ran around and got to talk to senators. I got to talk to none. He had media coverage all over the place. I had zero. Guess what? I'm a gun owner. I'm an American citizen. And I have nothing, but this guy with his George Soros funding and his major liberal funding has got everything.
What more did you learn about the Congresswoman's views and comments?
So what we found was that Marjorie Greene in 2018 and 2019, and this is before she ran for Congress, she was a conservative commentator, posted on Facebook a lot. She repeatedly indicated that she supported executing Democratic members of Congress, including House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. There was a post in which, and this is really graphic stuff, somebody said a bullet to the head would be an easier way to remove Pelosi, and Greene liked that comment. She also repeatedly liked these comments about executing members of the FBI who she claimed were part of the deep state conspiracy against President Trump. And sort of the backdrop to this was she was leading this petition to impeach Pelosi, saying she was guilty of treason, and she gave many speeches in support of this. And in many of those actually also, suggested that Pelosi could be executed for treason.
It's a crime punishable by death, is what treason is. Nancy Pelosi is guilty of treason, and we want her out of our government.
One of the things that we're going to do is to be completely transparent, open, and honest. If things go wrong, not point fingers, but to correct them, and to make everything we do be based on science and evidence. Obviously, I don't want to be going back, over history, but it was very clear that there were things that were said, be it regarding things like hydroxychloroquine and other things like that.
I'm taking it, hydroxychloroquine.
What do you have to lose? Take it. I really think they should take it.
That really was uncomfortable because they were not based on scientific fact. I can tell you, I take no pleasure at all in being in a situation of contradicting the president. So it was really something that you didn't feel that you could actually say something and there wouldn't be any repercussions about it. The idea that you can get up here and talk about what you know, what the evidence, what the science is, and know that's it. Let the science speak. It is somewhat of a liberating feeling.
And if it comes back, though, it won't be coming back in the form that it was.
We will have coronavirus in the fall. I am convinced of that.
Basically vanished for a few months there for a while. You feel like you're back now?
I think so.
Let me assert my firm belief that the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
The economic ills we suffer have come upon us over several decades. In this present crisis, government is not the solution to our problem. Government is the problem.
The American people await action. They didn't send us here to bicker. They ask us to rise above the merely partisan.
Our democracy must be not only the envy of the world, but the engine of our own renewal. There is nothing wrong with America that cannot be cured by what is right with America.
My most solemn duty is to protect this nation and its people from further attacks and emerging threats. Some have unwisely chosen to test America's resolve and have found it firm.
We are a nation of Christians and Muslims, Jews and Hindus, and non-believers. We are shaped by every language and culture, drawn from every end of this earth. And because we have tasted the bitter swill of civil war and segregation and emerged from that dark chapter stronger and more united, we cannot help but believe that the old hatreds shall someday pass, that the lines of tribes shall soon dissolve, that as the world grows smaller, our common humanity shall reveal itself, and that America must play its role in ushering in a new era of peace.
Our journey is not complete until our gay brothers and sisters are treated like anyone else under the law. For if we are truly created equal, then surely the love we commit to one another must be equal as well. Our journey is not complete until no citizen is forced to wait for hours to exercise the right to vote. Our journey is not complete until we find a better way to welcome the striving, hopeful immigrants who still see America as a land of opportunity.
Mothers and children trapped in poverty in our inner cities. Rusted out factories scattered like tombstones across the landscape of our nation. An education system flush with cash, but which leaves our young and beautiful students deprived of all knowledge. And the crime, and the gangs, and the drugs that have stolen too many lives and robbed our country of so much unrealized potential. This American carnage stops right here and stops right now.
This is America's day. This is democracy's day. A day of history and hope, of renewal and resolve. Through a crucible for the ages, America has been tested anew. and America has risen to the challenge. Today, we celebrate the triumph not of a candidate, but of a cause, the cause of democracy. The people, the will of the people has been heard, and the will of the people has been heeded. We've learned again that democracy is precious, democracy is fragile, and at this hour, my friends, democracy has prevailed.